Hey everybody, welcome back. It's another day in November where we're working on gratitude. We've worked on things like saying thank you, like celebrating what God has done, and we've worked on things like there's always something to be thankful for. And this entire week, we are working on adjusting our attitude. And it's not like adjust our attitude like this kind of attitude, like that kind of attitude. It's like adjusting our attitude is in like the way we think about things. So it's not like that kind of attitude. So, we're going to start by a game. I have a little die here, and I'm going to roll it, and it's got a lot of different instructions to do on the dice. And when I roll it, take turns. You are going to take turns doing what's on the die along with me. So some of you might have some easier things to do, and some of you might have some harder things to do. And at the end of the game, we'll talk about it. But I'll do them all because it's a game, and I love games. If you're playing by yourself and you're with me, you can just do everything if you want. Or you can take a chance and do every other and see what happens. Are you ready? Let's go. Take a deep breath. That was a nice one. Skip 3 laps. Skip 3 laps around the small group area. All right. Good thing I'm in the small room today. All right, next one. Run 5 laps around the small group area. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, that was a good one. Next one. Skip 3 laps again. Do 20 jumping jacks. Okay. I'm really getting a good workout from this game. Hop 2 laps around the small group area. Oh my goodness. Hop away. 1. Two.
That was crazy.
We did it. We did them all. And now it's time to take a deep breath. So, I have a question for people who played that game like a team, or you did some of the challenges and you didn't do some of the others. What would it have been like if I gave you a prize? And the prize wasn't based on how difficult your task was, but how much energy you put into it. So if someone did a smile, and that's all they did, but they smiled with 100% of their energy, they might have gotten a bigger prize than the person who hopped 2 times around the small group area. Can you imagine? Now, would you think that's fair? Why or why not? It's a lot like our Bible story was today, where people were working. Some of them were working all day, and some of them just worked a couple hours, but they all got paid the exact same amount. And the people who worked all day really hard were really frustrated and confused about why they got paid the same amount that the people who only worked an hour or two did. So if you're confused, go ahead and take time and watch the story if you haven't yet today, because it's a story in the Bible that Jesus told. And it's not about how hard you worked. The story is actually about God's generosity and God's love. So if you haven't taken time to go watch that story, pause this video and watch the story now. If you already watched it, stay with me and hang out. The workers in the field who worked all day had to adjust their attitudes. They worked so hard and they were given exactly what they were promised. But they looked at what other people had. Other people had half the day off and then worked hard and then got paid the same amount. And they were looking at what other people had and they lost focus on what they had. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been looking at what someone else has so hard that you forget about the things that you have to be grateful for? That happens to me. Sometimes I look and I see that someone has a really big TV and I'm like,
ooh, I wish I could watch movies on that TV.
But I'm like, I have a TV and it works really great. I don't need a really big TV. But sometimes I look and I see that my friend has a brand new car and it is the best color of teal and I'm like,
oh my goodness, I wish I had that really cool car. But my car
is good enough. I mean, it's steady, it's reliable, and I have a car. Sometimes when I spend a lot of time looking at what other people have, I lose focus on the things that are really good that I have. And I stop being grateful. I stop being grateful for the hard work that I did to get my things. I stop being grateful for the gifts that people gave to me along the way. And I stop being grateful for the gifts that God has given me in my life. So that's why it's important to adjust your attitude. When you start looking at what other people have and you start to get jealous and you start to feel like this is not fair, adjust your attitude and be grateful for the things that you already have, because there's always something to be grateful for. And so when you know that you can adjust your attitude, you can be grateful in even the most difficult of situations, because you'll know you have something to be grateful for. I'll see you for the next activity.